Good morning. My name is Murray Blight. I'm president of the Manitoba Softball Hall of Fame. And this morning I have Daryl Beamish representing Brandon Westman Merchants Fastball Club, and also Kevin Bartley, who is inductee with the Minto Mustangs. So good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning, Murray.
The idea today is to promote the Manitoba Softball Hall of Fame, and specifically our ceremony that's taking place May the 11th in Winnipeg, Manitoba. So what I thought I'd do is just to give some history of the Manitoba Softball Hall of Fame. The organization became in existence in year 2000. And then the people that were involved in the organization said, we should have a ceremony dinner. So in 2002, the first ceremony was held in Portage-la Prairie. And of course, there was a number of different people, inductees. And how that worked is that they would seek nominations. And this is from people that are interested in the game of softball. And it goes from the adult to the junior representation. Then what they did have is a selection committee made of people that I would say knew the game, know the game, and then of course with the information that is supplied by the nominators. And there had to be two nominators in regards to it. So they would review the nominations, and at that time would come up with their recommended selections to the Softball Hall of Fame board members. And of course, that's still the practice now. We have a selection committee, they review nominations, they bring their findings to the board members, and then it's approved. It's more just check and balance, make sure everything is cool. And we work with Softball Manitoba just to make sure everything's done appropriately, whatever. So a little of the history, I was just saying to both of you before we came on the air that as of, I guess, not including this year's inductees, we've had 82 players inducted into the Softball Hall of Fame, and 25 teams. And I mean, just thinking out loud, registration for Softball Manitoba, and some of you both maybe know that, is around 17 players, and then you've got a coach or coaches, manager, whatever. So quite a number of players over the years have been inducted. So, but that's a bit of the history. I could say our event is going to take place at the Victorian in Winnipeg. We just recently signed a 3-year contract with Victorian, and so this year it's in Victorian, Winnipeg. Next year is in Winnipeg, and then we're back in Brandon in 26. So it's, and I mean, the event takes place. We used to have and have had Portage-la Prairie, but dealing with the Victorian, they only have the 2 spots that is close to our areas, Winnipeg, Brandon. So, but anyway, as far as what took place this year for nomination selections, we ended up with 7 individuals, and broken down to 5 athletes and 1 builder and 1 all-around player. And then 3 teams this year, in which we'll get into some information about each one, was Brandon Westman Merchants Fastball Club, Smitty's Terminator Junior Women's Team, and St. Vital Flocking Ducks. So as I say, we're going to have 7 individuals inducted into the Hall of Fame, and of course the 3 teams and with. So my job in the past number of years, I don't want to say how many years, it's been a long time, but is once I know who the inductees are, and we end up getting a hold of representatives and whatever. And it's also, it's unique to say is that Kevin, who will be speaking on behalf of his induction, is also a new member to the Manitoba Softball Hall of Fame board. So we had Don Moxon that has retired, and our present board, we've got Al Sharp as our past president, and he's been a long time. Yours truly has been chair for a number of years. Adrian Brown is the vice chair. Then we have Les Elchuk. He's our man that is doing all the new web design and softball, and it's really unique. And he's going to be speaking at our ceremony as well. about what people can do and the history. I mean, right now he can set it up that he can check Daryl Beamish, who has also been a previous inductee into the Hall of Fame, also member of a player of different teams. You could go onto the computer, bring up Daryl Beamish, and find anything and everything about his accomplishments. So the same as Kevin, you as Minto Mustangs, if I remember right, were inducted into the Hall of Fame. So be able to put Kevin Bartley and then looking at, oh yeah, Minto Mustangs and the players involved. So he's our IT man, and it's been such a bonus for us to have him involved. Les Newman, the treasurer, and he looks after all the organizing of the wind-up in respect to making sure people's invitations are out. And then we have board member Jack Colson, him and Mo Bray, Janet Taylor. They've been assigned to look after reviewing our inductions, as in our nominations, and then the selection committee, because we wanted to make sure we're going with times, and so that's a task that they've been assigned to. So it's a body that has all different responsibilities with it, and of course Kevin just coming on board. He'll get his feet wet much more next year. I didn't want to impose too much this year because he's going to be inducted. So that's a little bit about the Softball Hall of Fame, the event that's taking place. So as I said to our guests watching this event tonight, this morning, is that Daryl Beamish and Kevin Bartley. So I'll start with Kevin being inducted in the athlete category. So give us some information to the community of your involvement in softball.
Well, it started in high school with our teacher, Larry Nichols. I was a hardball player for all through my minor ball. And our teacher came to us, a few of the guys that played the sports, hockey and football in our school. We'd be interested in forming a fastball team. And so we all talked among ourselves. It was Normie Towns, Greg Vogel, myself, a few other guys. We said, sure, let's give her a try. And you know what, we fell in love with it. And I actually started playing third base, and I was the third backup pitcher after Normie and Greg. And ironically, my buddy, Greg Shackle, was a catcher, but he had a bum finger. When he was younger, he got part of it cut off, and he'd last about 5 innings, and Norm and Greg threw so hard that he'd have to pull himself out, and the coach looked at me and said, anybody want to catch? I said, I'll give it a try. And eventually, I just stayed there, and that's how I become a catcher, to be honest with you. So you had
some quite the pitchers to catch for over the years.
Yes, I sure have. I think I counted back. I've caught 5 Hall of Famers full time. There was Greg Vogel, Gary Magwood, and the Sanders.
Right.
And then Greg was Minto and Bev Workman, Cliff Bishop, Rick DeGagne. Caught Brad Wright when we picked him up for Westerns.
Right.
Yeah, I was very fortunate. I got all of them in the Hall of Fame. So.
Yeah, I was going to say, when you were saying about different pitchers' names there, yes, Brad, he's inducted, Bev's inducted, Rick was just inducted a couple years ago.
Yes.
So yeah, you've had some and Cliff Bishop's another one, being inducted in the Hall. But, so some self-accomplishments, what are some of them you can bring to mind?
With Sanders, I made the All-Star team 3 years in a row. I played with Sanders for 8, I think it was. And we won the league 6 times out of the 10 years Sanders were in that league. I won a few batting titles within our team. We used to have Janice Woolley, who looked after our stats for years, and she kept it all still, and so winning the batting title on our team was quite an accomplishment with Don Campbell and all the guys I played with, and Roger Zellmer, Dennis Kyle, so kind of a feat. We've won lots of provincials. Like I said, we were 9 consecutive. I was amazed when we were looking back on our history. It's
because I remember the Minto Mustangs. You just looking at some of the information back in the years, they were a well-known team.
Yeah.
You know, for accomplishments in
Yeah.
in Western and Canadian. I'm not sure about Canadian. Did they ever go to a
You know what? We never did. We had too many teachers and stuff, and you had
Right.
to dedicate that week to go to nationals. And we had a couple of times we could have went,
Right.
but we just couldn't get the manpower. And I kind of regret that, not going. But
Right.
but winning the 1988 Western Canadians, wow, that was an awesome feeling. I think we were the first Manitoba men's team to win it, actually.
Nice.
So.
Nice.
Yeah, and I can attest that Kevin was just an excellent ball player.
Oh, thanks, Daryl. So are you. Like, I remember when my first year with Sanders, we played you guys in Kern Park. And I went, wow, that's a ball team. So
Yeah.
you and Dave Shack and the
Yeah.
boys. And yeah, so.
Well, that's like the one gentleman that's on our board, Bob Conabear. He looks after all the former teams, and I just sent him an email the other day. If he's told me about leagues, and he's told me I'd like to know more about the teams and some of the players,
Yeah.
because again, as I've mentioned with Les Elchuk now putting the website and all the information. Because you know what, gentlemen? If we don't do this, if we don't continue pursuing, it'll be lost.
Yeah.
Because unfortunately, as we talked earlier, the men's, juniors, maybe very few ball teams. I think if I understand, there's a few teams in Dauphin, in the area. They have a league. I know Wayway has quite a few. I think there's a number of Aboriginal teams.
Yeah.
I think there's a few teams in Winnipeg, but not like in the days when you just said about Current Park.
Yeah.
I mean, that was the highlight. That was where you went, and I mean, down
Yeah.
in Sanders and Killarney area boys. I mean, there probably wasn't a. And that's how Daryl and I met at a tournament one time back years ago. Because that's what you did. You
Yeah.
went away for whether it was 2-day or a single Sunday, packed up the children, off you went to the park. But
Yeah.
anyway, Daryl, this is something where you've been here, you've been there, you've been an inductee back a few years ago as an athlete category, and lots of accomplishments. So maybe just give us some information in regards to the Brandon Westman Merchants Fastball Club.
Well, the Brandon Westman Merchants back in 1979 was just one of the best fastball clubs around. And one of the reasons for that was the caliber of the ball players that they had on that team. In fact, I would go on to say that the Westman Merchants were probably the best fastball team in not only southwestern Manitoba back in that day, but also Manitoba, and also very much so in Western Canada. And, they won the Centennial League. I think we lost one game one year and no games the next year. And probably it might have been the Westman Merchants that Kevin played against back
right.
sort of in those days as
sure
well.
was.
And just some excellent ball players. In fact, the ball players were so good on that team that you could pretty well put them in any position, and they could play that position other than probably pitching and catching, which are, just a little different. And then not only that, I think our biggest accomplishment was in 1979 when we hosted the Senior B tournament for Manitoba. We went through that tournament undefeated, and that gave us the right to represent Manitoba and Lethbridge for the Senior B. And in that particular tournament, we did really well. Unfortunately, we lost the final game 1-0 to Saskatchewan.
Wow.
But we came home with the silver medal, which we were very, very proud of.
You might add you're wearing today.
Yeah, and here's the Manitoba winning medal for 1979, and here's the silver medal that we got in Lethbridge for 1979 for the Western Canadian Senior Bs. And just to show you how good the ball players on our team were, we had 4 individuals in Western Canada at Lethbridge who were members of the all-star team. In other words, they were sort of the top class. And one was Ron Helgeson, the pitcher. The other was Jim Pomeroy. The third one was Dave Berman. And our manager, Roy Kelly, won it. And one of the really extremely successes for that team was because of you, Murray, as well, because Murray was the sponsor of our team. And of course, you know, there's a lot to be the sponsor, and I don't know all the ins and outs, but you know, you're and Murray, you're part of that team, and Danny Flick and Rod Zink.
That's correct. Yes.
You know, so it was just an excellent time. Great guys, great ball players, great team.
Yeah.
You know, and I mean, it was just super, as you said. It was just something to remember. What I would like to ask people is, and ask the ball players, is I would like all those ball players that were on that team that can still come to the induction and be recognized for their accomplishments, and all the fans that supported us back in those days. If you can find time to come, it would be just a great reunion and lots of memories, and it would be just super. So.
No, you're absolutely right, and I mean, that's the enjoyment I get, to be quite truthful, at the ceremony, is the interaction and listening to, as one would say, all the lies or fabricated stories. You know, it's like the fishing story. It just gets bigger and longer, whatever. But it's good to see as we get all younger looking, holy man, there's that person and that person. And I mean, it's like, Kevin, when you were saying about accomplishment, if my recollection right, Minto did win a Western Canadian, did they not?
Yeah, 1988.
1988.
In
so
BC.
In British Columbia. So, I mean, as you said, you know, you're so close, and as Darryl alluded to as well, 1-0 score. I mean, even going back that year of that time when, you know, we came so close of representing Manitoba at the national event, and then as again back in '85 when we put the Merchants together, came that close, Western Canadian bound again.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a lot of interesting information and whatever that happens. It's worth the evening, as Darryl said. And as far as one being able to attend, it's open to the public. So I'm a persistent until you tell me to see the road or whatever. I want to see as many inductees and representatives. Like, unfortunate, as we've discussed just again prior to our interview here today, some of our members have passed on, you know, and are no longer here. But that's not prohibiting, and we as Softball Hall of Fame, we encourage a representative for the family to attend. So I know with the Merchants, there's 4 members that have since deceased back in the day and whatever. So hopefully that their spouse or family member will be in attendance. So saying that, in order to see about tickets, of course, Les Newman, he looks after the ticket dispersal. I know the players. In fact, I believe you just said, Kevin, there was a package, and I'm sure it's information about the ceremony. So this year we have the event, as I said earlier, at the Victoria Inn, and then of course ticket-wise, go through Les Newman, L Newman or Les Newman at live.ca, or better yet, just give me a phone call or Kevin a phone call, and we can certainly let you know, whoever's interested in attending.
Absolutely.
We certainly want to see as many people. In past, Brandon has always done well. We used to have it at the Keystone Center. I remember the one year we had between 500 and 600 patrons attend the event, including the inductees and whatever. So our event this year, I'm just doing the preparation for the ceremony, and we've kind of changed things around. This year we'll have Kathy Gauthier as our Master of Ceremonies.
Oh, excellent.
And if you're watching Kathy on TV right now with the Women's Canadian Curling Championship. So she'll be back as the MC, and we're going to have the 7 individuals up at the stage area, and each one will come up. Like Kevin, I'm going to give him heads up. He's first this year. I just go in alphabetical order. So Kevin's going to be first, and he'll have an opportunity between 3 and 5 minutes to bring greetings to the crowd. And then we'll finish off. And I believe, I've been just talking to Les Elchuk. He's going to give us some information about the website just before we have the intermission. And then after the short intermission, we'll get the players all lined up. We'll even have the chairs, because some of us, like I say, are getting older and they need to sit down and what have you. So then there'll be a representative, and as my knowledge, correct me if I'm wrong, Daryl, Dave Shai is going to be the spokesman for the Brandon Westman Merchants. And
Yes,
then,
that's correct.
And then as far as who has a representative for the Ducks, and as well as for the Smitties, and they'll give some. And then we like to keep the event, because it starts at 4 o'clock, the doors, and then we like to have dinner at 6. And by 10 o'clock, we hope to have it completed. So that gives you time to interact, reminisce, see some people you haven't seen. Because I think a lot of them, and as Daryl has made mention, we hope to see a lot of our players show up. And I'm sure, Kevin, with some of your referrals, hopefully they show up to, to bring greetings and say hello and congratulations, whatever. So, but anyway, it's we're looking forward to it. I mean, as if Les Elchuk was here, he'd say X number of days, the event is here. And it goes, all the preparation, and then it's over. And then you start over again.
Yes.
We're receiving nominations already. As I said before, the selection nomination committee are working together. Next thing you know, we'll have more nominations for the 22nd. We used to call it annual. This was last year's program, so this will be the 21st induction ceremony coming up because of COVID.
Yeah.
We had to break away a couple years. So it lost, but again, we're still keeping it going. And this year, I was proud to say, is that we wanted to keep the ceremony as a ceremony, and nothing against a luncheon or whatever, but it just adds to me that much more class to the the event that's taking place. So I wanted to mention that if it wasn't for some of these businesses to help us out, in the awards package. So this year, Softball Manitoba came on as award sponsor, engraving members by Lorna. RMD Insurance, that's Rick Denny, who's a past inductee. Vinyl Holdings, if you go back to Jacobson and Greiner when they got inducted, so they're involved. And Smitty's, there's been a number of teams of Smitty's that have been inducted, and players been inducted. So they've come on board. Actually, I had a few more, but they've gone into donation. So because our event, probably in all sincerity, because we give every inductee, individual and player and representative, a free ticket. So the ticket this year is $85 for the meal. I mean, nothing's getting any cheaper. They also get, an inductee gets a nice glass plaque. The players get a plaque. Plus a certificate each one. So we figure in past it's been about a $10,000 evening cost. So, with sponsorship from the awards package, with the ceremony program, whatever, 50-50, or I guess it's not 50, it's the auction prize that we have. It certainly helps the costs and whatever, so. But anyway.
If I could, Murray,
I was going to say, before we close off, is there anything further you'd like to say?
Yes, I'd like to give a shout out to Les Newman. I talked to him yesterday about banquet tickets, and he is so accommodating. So anybody that wants one, I mean, don't feel sort of hesitant about giving him a call or a text or an email, because he will really, really help you out. Not only that, today in the mail, I got my free ticket for being inducted.
There you go.
And he has sent all those out to all the inductees. For this year, and it's just great. And for all the people that have never been to one, if you can get there, it is just a wonderful event, and we would certainly look forward to seeing you. And once again, congratulations on your individual.
You too, my friend.
Hey, and congratulations to you, Murray,
Thank you.
on all the work that you do. And all
well,
the help
I
that you
enjoy it, and I mean, Kevin just, as I say, became a member, and you sometimes wonder, is it time for change, but I have to say I quite enjoy it, and you just take it upon yourself. And the reason is that there's so many people out there that were great fastball, men, women, whatever, and I just want to see it continue to hopefully that we can get as many people into the Hall of Fame. And, you know, it just, and then the enjoyment of it, whatever. So, yes. So, Kevin, anything last words to say in regards to the event?
Saying that, Murray, I just want to say thank you to yourself and the directors and the executive of the Manitoba Softball Hall of Fame. Without you and your supporting people, this wouldn't be happening, and we really appreciate it.
Yeah.
Well, I thank
really
you for
do.
the kind remarks, and look forward to seeing it, both of you at the ceremony on May the 11th.
Absolutely.
In fact, Kevin's going to be in a bit earlier because being part of the board, there's some duties of setting up the event. So, and but this must be about your 3rd or 4th year in a row, I'm thinking.
Yes, I've been inducted 3 times.
Yeah,
so this is my 3rd time.
Yeah.
And I just want to say to all the people that are watching this, some of you might be wondering, well, what is this red jacket and what are these 2 medals? Well, these 2 medals are what we won for Manitoba and also for Western Canada. This jacket happens to be almost 45 years old. It goes back to 1979. I couldn't find mine, so I borrowed this one from Dave Shia. Mine might be disintegrated by now. Anyway.
Well, that's good. And in closing, I want to thank Westman Communications for having us here this morning and giving us an opportunity. As I think if in past practice that upon this taping and they do their fine editing, they'll be broadcasting it to the neighbors in our various communities. So once again, I would say is that if anybody has any questions, please feel free to give Kevin or myself a call, and on behalf of the Manitoba Softball Hall of Fame, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.